Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Picross S. This is a Picross game from the people who made the Picross E series on the 3DS. So hopefully they've had a relatively good amount of experience working with Picross to make a good Picross game, since they made 7 of the bloody things. So this game's actually really simple, there's not that much to it. You've got your tutorial stuff, your 2 modes with their individual puzzles between them, and the options menu, which is nice. You have a bunch of assists that you can turn on and off, which is good as well, because there are some puzzles that don't let you use these, but the majority of puzzles do let you use them, and there's no penalty to using these. So if you want to go through the majority of the puzzles using some of these assists, well, you can do that just fine. I've got my usual setup here. Notably, if you don't want to use hint roulette on, say, an easier puzzle, it actually gives you the option at the beginning whether or not you actually want to use it. Just for the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to have it turned on for the first puzzle or 2, but then I won't bother using it afterwards. Navigation is a bit different. You can have don't use, or you can highlight the correct lines and the incorrect lines, but I think this is a little bit of a misnomer, because it actually does something different. Highlight correct lines actually highlights lines that still have blocks that you can put in them using the game's normal logical rules, and incorrect lines means that it will highlight lines that you made a mistake on, but it'll do it immediately, so it's not like autocorrect mistakes is entirely needed, but we'll get to that. I prefer having it on highlight correct lines, mainly because when the bigger puzzles come around with lots of small numbers, it's kind of hard to know which lines you should be focusing on first, and this does help with that, so I prefer leaving that on. You do also have the option to autocorrect a mistake, so if you put in a block and it turns out that there's not supposed to be a block there, it'll immediately get rid of it and put a little X over the top of it. As I said before, no penalty to using these, although you do have some puzzles that require you not to use them, so there you go. You can also change your cursor speed and how it loops around the screen. Notably, there's no touchscreen controls in this version of the game. It's all controller stuff, so you do need to be mindful of that. It works fine as a control scheme, and we'll get into that, but it really does work fine. And you can change what the background music will be for the puzzles, and that's pretty much it. Like, seriously, it's very simple. So we'll go play a couple of Picross puzzles first. I'll play some of the 10x10s just to explain the basic idea of Picross for those of you who have not actually seen Picross before. Slightly unlikely given the circumstances, but oh well. So there's your hint roulette, that's how it works. So you've got, it automatically highlights a line in a column for you. But this is how Picross works. So it's a logic puzzle. You can see on the left and on the top, there are several sets of numbers and a grid below them to put the put blocks into, and you have to make the blocks on the grid match the numbers on the sides. And so, just as an example, see how this says 251 on the 8th line from the top? This means that you need to put 2 blocks, then 5 blocks, then 1 block, and they can't be touching each other. So, just as an example, if I was to put like 10 blocks all the way along here, that wouldn't work, because they need to be split apart, because that's what the 3 numbers mean. There has to be a split between them of at least 1 block. So if I want to fill in this line correctly, which I can do because this is a 10x10 puzzle, I can select these 2 by pressing the A button, then I can press the B button to fill this in with a cross, then I can do 5, and then I can do 1. That does the entire line, and then I can use that information to fill in the rest of the line. So we've got the 2 over here by itself, which means there's only going to be 1 set of 2 blocks on this line, and then everything else is not filled up. So considering that this block will only be able to stretch out one way or that way, and I'll only be able to stretch out 1 block, we can make it so that every other block in the column isn't actually filled in. And you keep going through like this, filling in the lines, trying to avoid your potential logical inaccuracies, and that's pretty much the entire game of Picross. And I'll just continue solving this puzzle here while I talk about it if I can. I don't know if I've got the brain power to do this all at once, but you could just follow my lead, or at least you can try to follow my lead. I can't promise anything, but we'll see if I can actually get this done or not. So the game itself is pretty well done, for the most part anyway. It looks absolutely fine. It has not that much in the way of flair, but at the same time, it doesn't really need it. It is nice and comfortable to play. The controls work perfectly fine. And I've got no idea where the bloody hell I'm supposed to go on this puzzle now. This turns into a little bit of a problem with the later ones, I gotta say. I admit that I'm not very good at Picross, at least what this game is attempting to be. So, okay, this one here can be blocked off, and then that means... Ah, yes. Right, so I can fill in these two, because these two blocks are going to be filled no matter what, because the way the two blocks, the 2x2 blocks will be arranged is that you'll have two you'll have to have one of the twos in either of these three spaces. So either way, this one's going to be filled up, and it's the same with the other side. But as I was saying before, the game can be a bit weird about its... The game can be a bit weird and hard about its puzzles, in that there'll be an absolute ton of puzzles that have tons of little numbers across the screen, and it just... The game isn't impossible. The game isn't a hard or inaccurate sort of Picross game. It's just one of those games where the puzzles get so unbelievably hard at times with what numbers you have to focus on and how many quote-unquote predictions you have to make. They're not really predictions, but they're... How do I put this? They're like... You do have to make not so much logical leaps, but you do have to start thinking, well, there's going to be at least one block in this one little line that might help me out somewhere, and you have to do things like that all the bloody time in this game. So it can be just a little bit annoying like that, but it's a Picross game. That sort of thing just happens a lot in this sort of thing, so really is quite unfortunate. But at the same time, it's a Picross game, so I don't know what I was expecting. So yeah, it is one of those harder Picross games is what I'm trying to say. It's not easy like, say, the Picross games on the 3DS that were made by Nintendo, like Picross 3D. It's not like them, where most of the puzzles are pretty damn reasonable for beginners to play. It's definitely not that sort of game. But anyway, finished the puzzle. Quite proud of that, actually. Didn't make any mistakes or anything, which is nice. I'll go do a 15x15 one now. Just for the purpose of demonstration. The game does let you suspend puzzles, by the way. And there is another little thing I haven't talked about yet. We'll get into that. So if we head into the 15x15 puzzle, I will use the hint roulette again. But I won't use it. Oh god, look at this puzzle. God almighty. Oh well, I got some stuff filled out for me. That's pretty good. At least it'll help me get this done a bit quicker. But yes, so there are a couple of other things you can use to your advantage. So just as an example, if I hit the start button here, you can come and have a look at the tutorial, and although it says watch tutorial, it really is basic. It's just a... What's the word? It's just a very basic picture-by-picture explanation of Picross, which is perfectly fine. You can come here to change your options, including turning all your assists on and off. And you also have the ability to check for mistakes once per puzzle. And once you've done that, you can't use it again. Which is slightly unfortunate, I must admit, because I have screwed up a puzzle pretty handily the last couple of times that I have been playing on puzzles this large. So if you end up screwing up just the once, you'll be fine. But if you end up needing to use that little assist feature more than once, well, you're kinda screwed. But as I said before, it really isn't an unfair Picross game. It's just one of those really hard ones. And the really hard ones aren't so much my cup of tea, mainly because, again, they're really bloody hard. So you really have to put all your brain power into finding the one little point that you can fill in on a line of ridiculously long ones. It's kind of disappointing for me personally, just because I prefer my Picross games to be slightly easier and not rely on that particular logical tactic. But if you're into that sort of thing, well, it'll work just fine for you here. I don't really know how to explain with words, but who knows, maybe we'll get a really hard puzzle when I go to explain the Mega Picross and you'll understand what I mean, because seriously, it's beyond belief just how ridiculous some of these puzzles can be. I gotta say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep, I can fill that in. And that is also filled in, so I can fill that, which means this can be filled in. And this entire line is done, so I'll just mark it all off. As I said before, very simple controller controls, nothing even close to harder dealing with. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go, and I can fill in the rest of this and fill in the rest of this line. There we go. Fill that. Line is done. It's Picross. It really is. It's a very, very decent implementation of one. Nothing too out of the ordinary. There is one big special mode that I am meant to show you though, and oh boy, that mode is something I've never actually seen in a Picross game before, which I'll give it credit for. It's a impressive little thing in and of itself. We'll get to it once I stop sucking so badly. I mean, what else is there to say about it? It runs fine in portable mode, and the music is actually quite nice as well. I don't mind the music one bit. Alright, we can fill this one in now, which means this line is done, which means this column is done, except it's not done. Now it's done. Right, what else we got? Oh, no. There we go. And that means that one has to be the last one, which fills all of this in and fills all of this big bloody square in, which is nice. So now what? Okay, we need 2 there. We need a 2 and a 1, so that line is complete. We need a 3, and this line's already complete, so is this one. And then we need 2, 1. That's going to be the 1, so that's going to be the 2. That's also... Nope, I actually got that wrong. Yep, these lines are gone, so that one is the 2. And we're done. So yeah, as I said before, there's no real penalty for using the assists, although as the game's tutorial did say there is a finish the puzzle with no assists, which is perfectly fine. So let's go talk about the other mode. The other mode is ridiculous. It's called Mega Picross. Now, it works along the same logical reasoning. So let's just start this one up here. I will not use the hit roulette this time, although it's probably going to screw me. So, this is how it works. Those big ones there that take up 2 lines, those are 6, 8, 10, 12, 2. So the way this works is that these have to stretch across both lines, and they have to touch a certain amount of blocks. So as you can see, there's a 2 there, so that means there's 2 blocks that'll be highlighted over the 2 lines, and they can't be touching anything else. So they're like everything else on the board. So I can get rid of that now, and I can not get rid of them. However, I can also fill in these 6 here. That makes 12 touching blocks across the 2 lines, so that's correct by the game standards. And that's pretty much how they work. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh man, that is so strange. I legitimately think this is a really strange idea, but it actually works. It works in the logical bylines of the game, so I really don't have anything against it. I just find it absolutely brain-bending because I'm so used to working with single numbers that having these dual numbers that attach across 2 columns just blows my flippin' mind. Alright, so I don't think these 2 can be filled in, but the problem is that these 2 can't be filled in, because if they are, they'll connect these 2. And yep, these 2 are there as well, so... Right. Oh, I can fill in this line here now, because we've got 5 ones that are... Did not mean to press that. We've got 5 ones over here that can be separated across the entire line, so that's perfect. Cool. And these 2 down here are fill-inable as well. What else can we do? These can't be connected to here. This is the only one it can connect to, so this is probably done. Yep, there we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you can see, there is a 1 up there past the 2 column 8, so there is also going to be 1 block on this line that is by itself, which is an interesting thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And oh, it might be those two over there, but it might also not be, except it's not going to be because there's a 4 across 2 columns there. So those 4 down there, or the big 4 up there, and there's 1 of those there, and then we've got 3 on this line in particular, so we can close that up, and then, yeah, it's Picross. Could you not tell? Right, these two can be like that, which means this can be like that, and that can be like that, which means like, yep. God, I said I was having trouble, but you're probably not believing me at this point, just because I'm doing so well. This usually doesn't make any sense for me, right? So yeah, now we got those 6 combined there in those 2 columns, and those whole 2 columns are done now. Yeah, those are all filled in now, so that column is entirely done. These ones over here, cross that one out, because it can't be connected to it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Fill the rest of that column in, which means that that'll be done too. And now I just need to find a way to make this happen. Now, how do I make this happen? He says, getting a little bit stumped on the logic of the whole thing. But okay, so we got 2 here, and then the logical line of procedure means that this 1 is going to be the next one in the line, and it has to be separated from the 6. So this is gone, and now this 1 can be filled in, and now these 6 blocks have to be connected, so it has to be this one. There we go. Now let's go see if I can find a really hard one, just for the fun of it, because why the hell not, right? There are tons of puzzles in the game. There's 150 mega Picross, and there are, I believe, about another 150 just regular Picross ones that go up to 20 by 15. So there is a good amount of puzzles for your money in this one. I can't remember its exact price, and I'll put it up on the screen right now when I do go look it up after this. But I believe it was something around 10 bucks, and 10 bucks for this many puzzles, especially when this many are actually going to stump me for ages, well, I am actually pretty impressed with that. So I will give it tons of credit for being really entertaining. Alright, I think I got lucky there more than anything else, but nevertheless, we will continue on. Those 3 have to be filled in. And what else have we got? Well, the first one in here has to be a 2, so that can fill in that. 2, 3, 4. And yeah, I'm not going to be finding any more on this line. I might be finding them on the columns. Alright, cross a few of these out. So this one isn't going to be able to go beyond that. And then this one up here is not going to be able to go beyond that. Right, so as you can see, the little blue numbers are telling me where I have squares I have not filled in yet, which is fine by me. Right. So down here, there's going to be 3 here, and then there's going to be 10 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So out this way and out this way, there's only room for 1 more. So that's my 9 out of 10, and then I can fill this in completely. This goes up to 5, mark that off, and then that goes up to 2, so mark that off, and then that comes down here. This one goes up to 6. This one goes up to 4, so we can mark these all in. Mark these 2 as empty because they can't possibly hold 2s because they're only 1 space each. 4's finished marking there, so we can just cross that off entirely. I think I might have cheated. Well, not so much cheated, but just like made a good guess more than anything else. Right, so these 2 squares need to be connected here, or these. All right, let me try this again. So I'm going to use the mark tool for this one. So the ones that I can fill in are either these 2 here to make 4, or I can fill in these 2 to make 4, or I can fill in these 2 to make 4. So pretty much everything up here can't possibly be filled in. There we go. Now the line has disappeared. Mark that, fill that, and mark that. Right. Now what? We got individual 1s there, which is interesting. So, however, I don't think I can entirely solve that because the big ones have to go across columns. So if I was to say mark these 3 here, These 3 wouldn't count as a double number because they need to go across both the columns, which is both the columns or both the rows, which makes things interesting. I can fill this one in and finish that entire line, by the way. And close that one off. And I can, whoop, wrong button. I can fill these all in because that has to be the 5, because this one over here won't fit 5. Cross that. Oh yeah, I got 2 whole columns done. Awesome. Right. And then either of these can be the next one. However, nope, I don't think I can safely mark those away yet. Game's probably trying to tell me otherwise, but right, one next. Well, yeah, I can fill this in down here, and that will be the one, because, yeah, there is no way that is fitting in there, which means this has to be the next one. Right. But then, at the same time, the 3 isn't going to fit in unless it's all the way over here. This is where things start to confuse me, I gotta say. Right, so this probably has to be a 2. Because there doesn't seem to be any other space for another 2 to come about, although I'm probably wrong about that. 2. Cross that. Oh, cross that one out. This next one can't possibly be the 3, so this has got to be the 3. This is the 2. Now what? Right, I'm back over on this side, am I? Or possibly the next second. So yeah, man, this is really confusing me. Oh, wait a minute. So yeah, 2 2s can't possibly fit in a space of 4, so one of them has to be over here, and this middle one must be one of them. So, right, that's 1. Jesus Christ. Right, what else? Right, this has to be the 3. Yeah, this has to be one of the 3s. So, we'll just leave that in there. Mark everything else here as out of the way, because it can't possibly be what I'm looking for. Oh. I will fill that in for now, because I can go and check my mistakes. And I'm probably going to have to go and do that in just a moment. Oh, cool, right. There we go, that's one of the 2s. And I can cross them out. So we're looking for just one more single thing on this up and down line here. And I can go and cross out all of that. And I've made a mistake. Because that has to be a 2, right. Show me my mistakes, please. No mistakes found. Oh, right, because yeah, that is going to be a... Never mind, I have actually made a mistake. The game just doesn't check mistakes on crosses. How the hell does this work? Oh wait, no, I'm dumb. I am so unbelievably dumb. Right, that's only 1 2 in this column. The other one is the 2 2 column. God, I am so stupid sometimes. I don't even know why I play these games. I make so many bloody mistakes. I'm nowhere near good at them, so... Why do I even bother? And I don't get any more hints unless I actively want to start, like, just, like, abusing the game's set of hint tools. Or, assistance tools is what I meant to say. So that's fun. Alright, so yeah, that has to be going up there, but it also has to connect into other things, so there can also be all of them, which means I can't safely fill in any squares along the bottom. Go me, go me. Someone's probably already seen the logical failing that I'm making. They're probably yelling at the screen, going, "That's where you put it, you bloody moron." I'm gonna put 1 there. Game didn't correct me, so I'm gonna assume that, well, I mean, if it didn't correct me, that is the right thing to do. Which means 1 goes up here, because these have to connect somehow. This has to get up into the second column somehow. And what's next? Well, it can't be this one. Because that one there can't possibly be filled because it won't be a 2-column one and there's no more up along this that isn't part of the 2 column. So, that one isn't it either. Which means that's number 2. And that line is complete. Awesome. What now? Right, that one is filled in down there. And there's one up over here that needs to be connected to 3 blocks. And I can't fill any of them in safely. Damn it. Ah, that's fun. I wish this game had one of those like little hint things you got in like Picross 3D where it would prompt you where you needed to go next, but that would be kind of hard to do without making the entire bloody thing pointless, wouldn't it? There's probably something I'm missing here. Right, so out of these 5 blocks, 3 of them have to be connected and they have to go across the chasm, so... The chasm into the other row, I mean, so... It can't be these 3 across the top by themselves, which means it has to be one in each of these 2 columns. However... Oh, I actually got that right. Who would have thought? Now there has to be another one by itself, which has to be here. 2, 3. Very good, and then that makes 5. Right. Now the rest of this column is filled in, except for that. This means this 2 can be filled in. And I've also managed to fill in this entire column here. Oh, hang on. Yep, that is all fine and dandy. I knew that. Well, I had a feeling that was right. We've got 2 over here, 2 over here. I can fill this line in, which means it can't. Well, it can be that, so let's not put a cross in that one just yet. Okay, we have one potential one here. No, apparently that one wasn't... Yeah, damn it, there was one over on the left. I was going to say I got through this one without making any mistakes, but I have already made one, haven't I? That means that one is... No, that one's not right either. I'm dumb. I'm really not doing well today. My head's starting to hurt. God, I have to do another video after this one as well. God, it's been 10 minutes! Jesus! Alright, come on. We got to get this done. Okay. All the ones I have left to do are on this side. I've got ones coming down here somehow. There's only one filled square on every one of these 5 lines. But the majority of the things I have to do are all up here up the top. I don't even know what this is meant to be a picture of yet. So, what have we got? We've already got 1, 2... We've already got these 5 filled in. There's 2 coming up this, and then there's a 1 by itself, and then there's these 3. Interesting. I'm pretty sure I just guessed that, if you want me to be honest. I've never been very good at the logical side of things, as I said, but I'm pretty sure that means that there has to be a 2 here. Part of the 2 has to be there. Which means this one's complete as well. Oh, 3, 2, 1. Mark that one off. Mark that one off. Fill in that 1. This has to be a 2, which means this has to be a 3. Cross that, which means this is a filled in 1, this is a filled in 1, and this is a filled in 1. And unbelievable, I actually finished the puzzle in a relatively short period of time. But yeah, it's all reasonable, it's all logical, it works. Pretty good Picross game. I just suck at the higher level ones, the harder ones. You get 300 puzzles for what I remember being a relatively decent price. So there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.